Howdy. Good morning, PE 101 beginning strength and conditioning students. Today is your first lecture day, and we'll be talking about the benefits of exercise. Before we get to the benefits of exercise down here, we have to define what exercise is and the differences it has between physical activity. So physical activity is any type of energy expenditure that you do, just anything. So when you're laying on your bed and you get up and just getting up out of bed, all right, that is expending energy itself. Getting up, walking to school, that's physical activity, all right? It's part of the activities that you have to already do in your daily life. Exercise is a little bit different. Yes, you will be expending energy, but it is done so in a manner that is rhythmic in nature, and it has the intention, all right, okay? Is the intention of building and improving your physical fitness, okay? So, according to the diversity of sport, exercise is any bodily activity that enhances or maintains physical fitness and overall health and wellness, okay? And then, so now we kind of have the difference between exercise and physical activity. Let's say you're trying to define now what the difference between these two are. The resistance training, okay? That is one end of the spectrum when it comes to exercise, and the other end is aerobic training. So aerobic or cardiovascular training, utilizing oxygen. RT, resistance training, that is more so anaerobic training, so without taking out the presence of oxygen, okay? So aerobic training is done, yes, it's rhythmic in nature, but it's able to be done in a continuous fashion, all right? So when you're going for a run, you're able to maintain that pace, all right? That's aerobic. As soon as you start going faster, you're moving into more of an anaerobic zone, all right? Your heart rate's gonna go increase a little bit. Resistance training is any type of exercise that you'll be doing and utilizing a set range of motion, and your muscles are contracting under a certain force, and it's done with the intention of building strength, hypertrophy, or muscular endurance. So, now that we have these kind of defined, we can go into the benefits of exercise itself. The number one I think of when I think of just overall global health benefits is just the reduction of diseases that it can have. It prevents not only physical injuries when you're in sports, but reduces your risk of coronary heart disease, reduces the risk of osteoporosis and osteopenia by improving the musculature and the skeletal health of your body. It can reduce diabetes. I'm not sure if I already mentioned that, but by improving cardiovascular health, we reduce the risk of coronary heart disease, okay? By improving your strength and hypertrophy, we reduce the risk of osteoporosis and osteopenia. Going down, we can look at metabolic rate as well. It increases your metabolism, so naturally you get to eat more when you exercise more. It's kind of one of the cool little side perks of it. It can naturally improve your body composition, especially if you're doing resistance training. Skeletal muscle, it takes more calories to maintain skeletal muscle, a pound of skeletal muscle, than it does a pound of fat. So you will be able to improve your body composition as you have more muscle on your body. It can also move into more sort of psychological benefits. It improves mental acuity, reduces risks of depression and all sorts of mental health illnesses. It doesn't mean that it can cure them necessarily, but it can help kind of deter those and be a positive habit when things get down. By improving and increasing the amount of chemicals that go on up here as well as in our whole body, such as dopamine or GABA or serotonin. And we don't have to go into necessarily the neurotransmitters and all the psychology behind why that happens and the biology, but I do want you to understand that it isn't just something that just necessarily happens like that. It happens over the course of time because your body is changing not only on the outside but very much on the inside. Hopefully you can see down here, it increases, it improves your sleep, and you get more restful sleep when you exercise on a normal basis by the properties of improving GABA and those neurotransmitters. And leading into our next topic next week, when we talk about SMART goals and positive habit formation, exercise in general can be kind of a infectious. It's something that once you get the ball rolling, you start to see some of the improvements, whether it be an extra push-up to your push-up max, or maybe you're going up the ridge and you're noticing that you're not breathing as heavily. These can lead to some positive habits that we'll be talking about a little bit more next week, and hopefully the goal of this class for you is to improve on your already baseline level of fitness and improve your confidence. Okay, so we're gonna have you build SMART goals, and we'll talk about this next week again, and that's kind of like the cliffhanger that I'm gonna end on here. Going to get to the general warm-up for the quarter. You're always going to begin your general warm-up with 60 seconds of physical activity, or in this case it's going to be jumping jacks. Throughout the course of the quarter that might be get a little harder. Towards the end of the quarter you might be doing burpees, but right now we're just going to start to 60 seconds of jumping jacks. For the sake of this video, I'm just going to show a few of them, and then I'm going to get right to it. The next portion of the general warm-up is called the hip flow. This was adapted from Cal Poly. It takes some of the integral parts of the Cal Poly hip flow, you can look that up if you'd like, and combines it with kind of the way that I wanted to run this quarter, especially because we're going to be doing lots of squats and lots of lunges, so we're going to have to open up our hips a lot. So the hip flow begins with a hip hinge. So with the hip hinge, we think about hips and bum going back. Hip hinging, hips go back. I'm going to demonstrate from the other side as well. You want to think about you're building tension through your hamstrings and glutes, and at the same time you're allowing your hands to just go back. We're not bringing our head forward and coming onto our toes. Instead, we're thinking about more so coming back onto our heels and allowing ourselves to maintain this neutral spine, this flat back, rather than just rounding. Okay? Because this is going to take all the tension out of the hamstrings and glutes. This will build tension in the hamstrings and glutes. Okay, so with all of these movement patterns, we're going to be doing 3. So we'll be doing 3 hip hinges. So 1, 2, 3. And then you'll be moving into your inchworm. For your inchworm, I'd come to the back of the mat if you have one. You're inchworming, so you're going to hip hinge and then inchworm into your push-up position. And then you're going to do 3 of those. You can finish here, or if you can come all the way back up if you really would want to, and go into your inchworm, finishing in your plank, high plank push-up position. After 3 of those, you're going to move into what we call the low lunge progression. The low lunge, you're bringing I like to go left to right, just like reading a book. I'm going to come to the back of my mat so y'all can see me. My foot is in line with my left hand, my left foot and my left hand. Now from here, I'm bringing my left elbow to the ground, then driving the knee out, and then reaching towards the ceiling. I'm going to do that one more time using some functional anatomy terms. We're going to be doing some thoracic rotation, bringing the elbow to the ground, some thoracic flexion, then moving into some hip abduction and external rotation, and then thoracic extension and thoracic rotation. And we'll be doing that again on the right side. With your back leg, you may not be able to see right now, we are trying to be active. So now that I'm on my right hand and right foot, my left leg is active. I'm trying to squeeze my glutes as hard as possible. From here, do your 3. And you can spend more time in these positions if you'd like to. I'm just showing these pretty quick because I'm trying to demonstrate it for the sake of the video. And after you've done 3 of those, you're going to be doing what we call a Cossack squat. Cossack squat, you go back to that left foot, and now we're going to do the Cossack squat, taking a little bit of balance here, and we're going to be moving from this plane over here. So, we're warming up the groin now, and your feet are going to point from straight ahead and they're kind of going to window wiper wash to the other side, to the back half of your mat. Over the course of time, you might be able to get really low and drop it all the way down to here. But right now, I'm just looking for a little bit of multi-planar work with your hips. Do that on the other side. And again, you can take this as slow as you'd want. The purpose of your general warm-up is to increase elasticity in the muscles, again, improve and increase core temperature. But really, we're also trying to get in the mindset of working out properly and safely. So after you've done those three, we're going to do what we call a quadruped plank. I'm going to demonstrate from this side. We're going to be here. Knees are off the ground. It's in line with my hips. And then I'm going to do a downward dog from here. I'm trying to shoot my hips to the ceiling and bring my head in between my biceps. You're going to get 3 of those. Then after you've done 3 of those, you're going to move into your upward dog. Moving to some thoracic extension. And then back to high plank position. And then upward dog. Then after this one, you're going to transition into downward dog. With downward dog, you're thinking about hips again, just going straight to the ceiling, building some tension in the back of the calves and hamstrings. Imagining that there's a belt at your hips just being pulled straight up. Allowing the shoulders to come into work and play around a little bit with your feet. You can pad to one side, pad to the other side. Just getting a little bit more elastic every rep. Then after this, you're going to walk your feet outside your hands and descend into a low squat position. And from here, we're going to be doing some squat rotations. So left hand is going to bring and grab left ankle, and then the right elbow is going to reach, and then fingers to the sky, and you're going to look at where you're going. And you're doing that 3 times on each side. I'd rather see a squat here with good form and doing these rotations than all the way down, back flexed, and no extension in the back and being here. We want to be active with our squat. You'll be getting 3 of those on each side. And right now, we're going to have that kind of be the bare bones basics for your hip flow. We'll be adding some more, especially for the glutes and the internal rotators of the hips as well. But for now, that is going to be the general warm-up. 60 seconds of aerobic activity followed by the adapted version of the Cal Poly hip flow. Alright, so now that you've completed your general warm-up, your hip flow for the day, this is going to be your first workout of the quarter. It's going to be pretty simple. I'm going to demonstrate these movements and show them to you, and then you're going to be completing it for 4 rounds. So, I'm going to actually make like a little box right here for you. It's going to be 4 push-ups, and then 8 squats, then 12 total lunges, so 6 on each leg, then 16 jumping jacks for 4 rounds. So ideally, you'll have a timer, you can use your phone, start it, then when you finish it, check out how much you have, what time you got, and then you'll post that as your workout for the day. So this first week, you're only going to have 1 workout, and you'll be learning your general warm-up, which will be a workout in itself. So, push-ups, okay? 4 push-ups. And you can do these from your knees, you can do these from your toes. I'm going to show them from the knees first. As soon as I get into that plank position, core turns on. Just like when you're doing your warm-up. Handyman Pat, you want to come on over to this side so you can see the elbows? Perfect. So, my elbows are going back. Okay? Thinking about putting them in my back pocket when I do my push-ups. Because, let's say we're a football player on a football field, alright? You're not going to push someone from here. Okay? It's not how you push someone. Let's say you're not a football player, but you're opening a door, and it's a push, not a pull. You're pushing from here. This is where we're going to get a lot of power and draw that strength from, right? Not here. This is going to put our shoulders at risk for shoulder impingement and a whole lot of issues. We can do other things from here, not push-ups though, okay? So with our push-ups, that's our most important part, is facing our elbows back. You can think about corkscrewing the ground away, so I'm actively turning my index fingers forward when I'm doing my push-up, and you can do those from your toes. Notice how my thighs really aren't touching the ground, okay? I'd rather have your hips a little higher than if your butt was on the ground, or sorry, thighs were on the ground, and you're doing wiggle wobble push-ups. Not a push-up. Not a push-up. Okay? Hips are off the ground, and you're pressing. The only thing that should be actually coming to the ground is your chest. After your push-ups, you're gonna do squats. Okay? Like my cue for this one, it's pretty simple. You're trying to peel your yoga mat or the ground away from you. So this is my knees right now. I'll come to the back of the mat, so Pat, come over here. My knees right now are not active. None of my hips are active, and if I was to squat, my knees are going like this. What I want you to think about when you're squatting is actively externally rotating. You can feel that happening if you put your hands back here. I'm actively doing that. It will make it easier if your hands are out forward and give you a little bit of counterbalance. We're trying to open our hips. My big cue when you're starting your squats is hips back and knees. Hips and knees are unlocking at the same time. Okay? Not hips go first, not knees go first. Both at the same time. And try to make sure that your feet stay in contact with the ground the whole time. Just think about sitting down into the floor. Okay? Your range of motion is your own. If you can get into this position perfectly, go to this position every single time. Don't shortchange yourself and go here when you get tired. Alright? Next is a lunge. So when we're doing our lunges, probably going to be doing them in your home. So we do them stationary. If you have a very long hallway, you can do them walking. But I'm going to demonstrate going forward here, and then I'll be coming back. So that's one, and then that's two. I think about being on train tracks here, making sure that we're not walking a tightrope. Okay, we're doing this for strength training. We can do other exercises for balance. I'm walking forward, knee comes in line with the foot, not inside. Okay, outside. All right, moving towards the third or fourth toe. Then I'm driving back. Whatever leg you're working here, you should be feeling it in the glute as it comes down, and then driving back into the floor as you come back up. Okay, torso stays tall as well. If you really want to use your arms, you can. Getting a little bit of rhythmic in it. If you really want to make it a little more spicy, bring your arms overhead. You'd be surprised at how hard overhead walking lunges are, especially if you start adding weight to it. Then, after your 12 lunges, you have 16 jumping jacks. You can do those. I trust y'all. And then you restart. So, I would recommend that you pace yourselves out for this activity. Don't try to just go full blown, get the first round done in a minute, and then take 2 minutes of rest. Try to go at a steady pace. Maybe take a sip of water after your first round, then get right back into it. Try to keep the same pace throughout those 4 rounds. All right, take care.